Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigil Green here, and today we're going to talk about Boss Superman. I'm going to show you a few fights, I'm going to show you how a few teams perform, and I'm going to vent my frustration because this guy is the worst thing to ever happen to Injustice 2 Mobile, and I'm going to also explain why, and after that I'm going to also show you some teams that actually work and some teams that you can actually use to deal some damage and eventually kill this dude, because it's pointless to complain without trying to at least offer a solution, but overall, this is bad. This guy is terrible. Also, please do keep in mind that I do have quite a few Riot Krypton artifacts. I'm going to be using a level 7 ring, a level 6 beta club, and a level 5 kryptonite spear, and those things do almost nothing to change the overall frustrating experience. I mean, overall, I'm going to eventually easily enough kill him compared to most people who don't have access to those artifacts in Raven, because I'm going to use Raven Confluent Sakomen, and that thing actually deals some damage, but that doesn't change my frustration because I've always tried to think from the perspective of a free-to-play player and understand the struggles. So keep in mind that with all those 3 artifacts, that if you had, let's say, the best luck when opening artifact packs, or at the very least above average, would have costed you $100 to get, it's still gonna be bad. So keep in mind, I will have access to those things, and most of you watching this video will not have access to them, and you'll have a far more frustrating experience, and I'm going to do my best to keep that in mind. Okay, so a little bit of an introduction to my boy here, Boss Superman. He's going to transform opponents' buffs into dots. This is going to be by far the worst thing about this dude. First up, you're not going to be able to use All Blades, which is the artifact that a lot of people are using if they're trying to run a free-to-play account. So All Blades is out of the question. And even worse than this team will render almost useless the Batman Ninja team, and will render completely useless the Black Manta team, as I will be able to show you. He's going to have high defense and crit resistance, so you'll need to, in one way or another, deal with the defense if you are able to. He's going to have armor pierce and dot resistance. He's not dot immune, but he'll have a high dot resistance, so dot damage will also not deal as high of a damage. And the armor pierce resistance, this is just terrible. Why do I even have the armor pierce talent if he's gonna have an armor pierce resistance? He's going to be immune to stun and freeze on top of that. He's going to have defensive measures preventing him from taking too much damage from Confluent Sacom and Special Tree. So yeah, this guy overall is not gonna be a good time. His AI is one of the more annoying AIs to fight. He's combo interruptible to an extent, though. Is not something that's gonna be very reliable, and it's something that's very hard to pull off. So with all those things in mind, there is one thing that can tremendously help you kill this dude. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the LexCorp Warsuit, and this is the worst artifact implementation I have seen so far. And don't get me wrong, the artifact is great, I love this artifact, I'm having tons of fun with it in Arena, I'm happy that this artifact exists in the game. I'm not happy that Boss Superman is structured around you having to have this artifact, not necessarily for you to do more damage, but for some teams to function in the first place. So what's this thing gonna do? First of all, it's gonna give you a chance to do armor pierce on special attacks, and that's gonna help you bypass the defense of Boss Superman, but that's not such a big deal because you have other ways to bypass defense. But the thing that's going to be the most frustrating thing if you don't have is going to be successful specials, activate armor for 10 seconds, increasing the defense, again not that relevant, and it's going to also activate tenacity, which is going to not let debuffs be applied to you. So let me explain how this works. If you're going to put this on the Batman Ninja team, they are going to receive their lethal attack damage buffs. If you're going to put this on Black Manta, after using a special, he's going to be able to properly stack up his passive. So this artifact will literally make 2 teams, which are one of the most powerful teams in the game, actually work. And if you don't have this artifact, those teams are not gonna function. Straight up not gonna function. Like, I'm going to show you the Black Manta gameplay. That dude without LexCorp is literally killing himself in 6 basics. He gets to 0 HP without getting his passive and getting huge amounts of dot damage inflicted. So yeah, I do have this on my secondary account, I do not have it on my main account, and this thing is going to be a thing that makes the fight far more accessible. This also works well on the multiverse team, makes the multiverse team actually work and yet again not take huge amounts of dot damage each time multiverse armored superhero use the special tree. But without this, it's going to be such a frustrating experience, and this is the most pay-to-win element in the game currently. Because previous to this, we had Dawn of Apocalypse soul rates, and with Dawn of Apocalypse soul rates, you would have benefited from having the entropy against Darkseid, which was also an artifact that was structured for you to not take a huge downside from his mechanic, which is one-shotting characters with the super move, because the entropy would prevent that. But at the same time, there were plenty of ways to go around this. There's currently no way except the LexCorp Warsuit for those teams to get around Superman Special. So it's either you have this artifact or two of your best teams are going to be rendered useless alongside two more teams or three more teams because of the Superman's buffs and debuffs, and those are not gonna do well even with the LexCorp Warsuit. And the main reason why I'm making this video now, I did complain about this boss previously in the past, but previously he was bearable, because there was a way to bypass the mechanic that will remove the buffs from your team. And that way was to kill your character and revive it. Previously, all blades on Killing Flying Aquaman would obviously damage you, but if you let Killing Flying Aquaman die and then revive him, he will get the all blade stacks and not receive the dot damage. If you put a Kryptonian Regeneration Matrix, an artifact which you can drop from raids, on Batman Catwoman, let her die and then revive her, she would not get any more hurt by the buffs negation and dot infliction. If you would put Regen Matrix on Black Manta or revive him with just the Aquaman, he would revive and no longer kills himself with basic attacks, but that has been removed. Currently, literally the only way to bypass this mechanics is the LexCorp Warsuit, and it's going to be a matter of either you have this artifact or you're going to not have a good time here. And currently the only way to get yourself a LexCorp Warsuit is to pay real money and buy this pack and hope that you get the LexCorp Warsuit. Because any other artifact, even if you get the Beta Club, it will be overall a good thing for you. But even if you get the Beta Club, even if you, let's say, have a level 10 Beta Club and two level 10 Mega Rods, those teams, not Mega Rods, excuse me, Kryptonite Spears, those teams will still not perform well and not do anything without the LexCorp Warsuit. So literally your only choice is to buy this and hope that you get the overall, I don't know what the full chance for this thing is. It's most likely if you add every level of the artifact that has a chance tied to it up, is going to be most likely a 4% chance. And if this was in a chest, it wouldn't have been that much of a problem, but it is not in a chest. The only way to get this is to pay real money and hope that you get it. This is literally gambling. And yes, there is another way to get this if you randomly drop it from Sorry rewards, and if you're gonna bring up that point, then shut up. Please, shut. How many LexCorps did you get from the rewards? How many Soul Raids artifacts alone you got from the rewards? I have completed in total, at the very least across all the Soul Raids that we have available, around, let's say, 20 heroic tiers, again, across two accounts, and I only got like 2 or 3 Soul Raid artifacts, and those artifacts were not even that good, or not even the ones that I needed, or the helpful ones. And there is currently no chest that can drop this artifact in the game. The only chest that, and we even see that rarely, that has artifacts in it is one that will have only Azure artifacts and Dawn of Apocalypse artifacts. There's currently no reliable free-to-play way to get yourself a LexCorp Warsuit, except for paying real money, or hoping for that very, very low percent chance that will happen to 1 in 1,000 players or even less, that you randomly drop the LexCorp Warsuit from the rewards. So yeah, with all that being said, this is the current situation, and keep in mind, I'm going to show you some fights where I do have those artifacts that I showed you at the start. So you're going to be off to a far worse start than I am. And it's still gonna be frustrating, but yeah, we'll get into the fights, and then I'm going to show you also the team towards the end that actually work, and how to make some of the teams that don't work a little bit, but still not at full potential. Okay, so now getting into the fights, first up you'll see over here a fight with the Batman Ninja team, where I put the Regen Matrix on Catwoman because I really wanted to test out if that doesn't work anymore, because previously you could revive her, and then after she got revived, she would no longer get dot damage when using her specials. But yeah, that's still the case. She's literally killing herself, not getting any benefit from the lethal attack damage from Robin, and it's overall something that doesn't work. There's also my Black Manta, literally look at him, he's speedrunning death at this point. My Black Manta is speedrunning end life at that point, and yeah, I messed up because I tagged him into a special when the Shield of Superman was still active. But still, this is just frustrating. For here, we're going to have a fight of the League of Anarchy, which is one of the best teams in the game. I'm even gonna use a classic Superman to reduce this dude's defense. And overall, the damage just isn't there, because he's got no defense now, but the problem is somehow we still deal no damage on the basic attacks, even though he's got no defense. And I really don't know how that works. Is he immune to damage on basic attacks even if his overall defense is reduced? I mean, I do have those artifacts that I showed you. I should have a ton of attack on Last of Joker, and with all the defense reduction I did with Classic Superman, I reduced 75 defense over there. And okay, I'm gonna get low dot values, but at least let me deal some damage. What is this? How is my Joker at this point with most likely above 30k attack because of the artifacts that I have on him, dealing like 12k per basic attack? I just don't understand how this works and how it's fair. To this extent, it's most likely even bugged. And with the Multiverse team, again, this one team that does very well here because they can apply Burning and deny his crit resistance. But if you're not going to have the LexCorp Warsuit, you're not going to receive the buffs from the Multiverse Armor Supergirl special tree, and you're going to get constant dot inflicted on yourself and on your whole team. And I put over here like Multiverse Supergirl to try and help out my Multiverse team to stay alive for a little bit longer. But then I tag her in for the super move, and I noticed that she had no health left. Look at this. I tag her in when he had almost super move, and then super move gets triggered. Normally I would just laugh this one off, but after all the fights, this is just salt on the wound. This is frustrating. Look at this. She gets killed by a basic, and then I get the super move done on me. Again, this is a situation I would have normally laughed at, but this is just frustrating. Okay, so now a few things that actually work to an extent. And this is another team that really gets on my nerves. So the Server Bench teams is going to act okay for the most part because they do not depend on buffs and debuffs that much. I mean, on buffs mainly, they do not depend on having buffs. Obviously, you're not going to be able to use All Blades on Server Banshee, so she's going to deal far lower damage. You're not going to be able to crit, so yeah, that's going to be yet again a thing. But at least they are able to deal some damage, and they are one of the few teams that does not receive constant dot damage just for fighting, just for existing. And even with this team, there is currently a bug. So they went out of their way to fix the bug that was making this boss bearable and was making some of the teams usable to an extent through the use of region metrics or Just League Aquaman to revive them. They went ahead and deleted that, but they didn't give a crap about the bug with Server Banshee, and so far I got crazy lucky. But Server Banshee should, in theory, have a 90% chance to disable opponent's special attacks, right? She's not gonna have a 90% chance to disable here. As you'll see here in a second, I'm gonna have, I think, at some point, five actually special ones in a row that fail to disable one of the opponent's abilities. Because Superman is not gonna have all his 3 abilities, he's only going to have 2 abilities, but Silver Banshee's AI is going to actually think that he has all the 3 abilities. So she's gonna try and attempt to disable the ability that doesn't exist, and that's gonna lower her disabling chance from like a 90% chance to a 50, sometimes even a 40% chance to disable a special. And this is a bug that I pointed out a few times, and they didn't give a damn about fixing, but they fixed the only thing that was making this boss bearable. Look, this is what I was talking about. 3rd special one not disabling anything, 4th special one not disabling anything, 5th special one not disabling anything, 6th special one not disabling anything, and there we go on the 7th finally. How is this a 90% chance, my dudes? How is this a 90% chance to disable opponent's abilities? She's clearly bugged, and she thinks that Superman's got 3 abilities, and she's constantly trying or constantly having a chance to disable the ability that doesn't exist. And they didn't care to fix this, but they fixed the only thing in the game that made this boss bearable and made the Batman Ninja team and the Black Manta team actually usable. The fact that you could revive them, and after they got revived, you could have to an extent done some damage to it. This is just frustrating, but again, you can use the Server Bench team here. Right now we're getting into the part of the video where I show you what kind of works to an extent, because as I said, We're done with pointing out the problem. I might complain a few times over the duration of this video, but now we're talking about teams that work. And Zero Bench team, even with that bug, is going to perform far better than a lot of other teams without you having any specific artifacts. Of course, you're going to deal far less damage than me because you're most likely gonna have lower soul rate artifacts, but this will work far better than most things that you'll have. This team again will do okay to an extent, because you're going to deal heavily reduced dot damage. You're going to do a lot of things. But this team can work to an extent. Again, it most likely will work far worse for you unless you have the Sword of Sin, because the Sword of Sin is going to apply burning to him and reduce his defense. Because while I do have maxed out armor pierce on basic attacks on Harry Quinn, and we should be able to avoid this dude's armor overall and not give a crap about the fact that he's got armor. That doesn't work. That is removed for this fight. So he's gonna have dot resistance. We're not gonna be able to bypass his armor with our armor pierce on basic attacks. And on top of all of that, he's gonna have also some dot resistance and some crit resistance in there. I do have some lethal on my Harley, but there's no lethal tag damage on my artifacts, so don't worry about that. So if you do have Arkham Knight Batman and an artifact that can reduce defense, like either Sword of Sin or a Radiant, this team will do well enough. And I think even if you don't have those artifacts, it will still do okay, or at the very least a little bit better than the team with less of Joker. But overall, in order to have the best performance, yet again, you're going to require some artifacts, and most likely Arkham Knight Batman, which a lot of people don't have. A team that most people will use over here, and a team that for most people will be the only team that kind of works here, is going to be the Kinflan Sakoman team. I'm going to use it with Draven and Beta Club, which are things, yet again, most of you will not have, but I'm going to do that because I do have them anyway, so why waste the pip? But yeah, overall, just put Kinflan Sakoman there. Make sure you don't put All Blaze on him, because that's not gonna be great. Maybe use a classic super to reduce the defense of him, and just make sure that you get out the 3 special trees of him, of Kinflan Sakoman, and he will eventually die, I guess. But yeah, this is the only team that will deal some real damage here, with or without Raven. Like, with Raven for me, and this is not gonna be overall that much of a big deal for me, this boss, even though I don't have the LexCorp, because I do have Raven and the Beta Club, and we will deal some decent damage over here. But I don't even want to imagine how this experience would have been on this account if I didn't have Raven and Beta Club. But yeah, if you're using Kinflan Sakoman, make sure you do whatever it takes for Kinflan Sakoman to get out 3 special trees. Don't put All Blaze on him, and maybe use Classic Super to reduce the defense. Yeah, I'm just gonna let the fights play in the background. By the way, stay tuned until the end, because I'm gonna talk a little bit about a way to use the Bad Ninja team after this fight. But yeah, overall, like, if you think about it, Boss Raven, that's gonna be in Advent of Chaos, is gonna be, in theory, far worse than this dude, because she's also going to be immune to dots and to lethals, which is far more than Superman does. But at the same time, the difference between Boss Superman and Boss Raven is that Boss Raven is not gonna have a mechanic that makes your team commit suicide unless you pay money. Boss Raven is gonna be to an extent manageable against her Banshee team does well enough, Just League team does well enough, Kinflan Sakoman team does well enough, she's easily combo interruptible, she's gonna have a far less annoying AI, she's gonna be just a damage sponge, as much as this should do this to an extent, but she's not gonna be that much of an annoying damage sponge at the very least. And as I said, she doesn't have the mechanic that makes your team suicide themselves if you don't pay money. This is the most annoying thing. Like, if they just made Black Manta deal significantly less damage and the Batman Ninja team deal significantly less damage, as it happens with Raven, it would have still been annoying but to an extent bearable. But the fact that they literally die in front of your eyes unless you pay money to get the LexCorp Warsuit is the most annoying thing about this whole situation. So yeah, overall, this is a very sad video to make, because I love this game. I make videos for this game, I interact with you guys about this game, I make money from this game, and this is a sad truth that I'm gonna have to admit. This is the worst aspect of Injustice 2 Mobile and the most pay-to-win part of the game, and that is Boss Superman. And I'm not gonna lie about it. I'm not gonna You know, I've always been honest with you. When I'm happy about something in the game, I'm gonna tell you. When I'm mad about something in the game, I'm gonna tell you. And yeah, this is a quick way to kind of use the Bad Ninja team to some extent. You get out Robin, because that's the reason why you take dot damage, because he's gonna constantly give you the lethal attack damage buff. You can use the special 3 because the special 2 out heals it, and put an Enraged Bane in there to give you a little bit of a boost. And while this is not gonna be to any extent comparable to the damage that you usually deal with the Bad Ninja team, it's gonna be far better than the alternative. So yeah, overall, all I can say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry in behalf of the game, I'm sorry in behalf of the developers, and I'm sorry in behalf of the shithead boss Superman. No matter how you put it, this was a frustrating experience, and this is something that shouldn't be in the game, and this is the biggest argument that people are gonna be able to make for the fact that this game is pay to win. I don't think it's pay to win in most cases, but this is a case where I have to admit it sadly is. But yeah, all that being said, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share if you enjoyed the video. Dislike it if you dislike it, maybe hit that bell button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.